It's time. Today, I'm going to be bringing you guys a in-depth review of the game that I've been playing for the last week. I've put about 100 hours into it. Wolcen, Lords of Mayhem. The game is fully released. It's no longer in beta. Obviously, I played it 2 years ago, and I think, I was kind of interested. And the game has finally come out. It's been kind of popping off. People are very excited about it because they've been hearing about it for, I don't know how long it's been in development. It's changed names, got kickstarted, but it's finally here. And gee whiz, what a mess. Obviously, it's very popular to just sit there and hate on things on the internet. People make videos and just rant about stuff for 20 minutes long, and they're completely biased and one-sided where, like, oh, if everyone dislikes this one thing, then, you just make a video ranting about how bad it is, and then you farm, like, Reddit points or whatever, like YouTube points. This isn't going to be that. I'm going to talk about the good things as well as the bad things. I'm going to talk about my experience personally that I had with the game. And now, obviously, there's going to be a lot of... I did get very triggered playing the game, but also I had a lot of fun. And some people are going to call me a shill or say I'm a sellout. I am not getting paid by the company to make this video or anything like that. So, stop. So let's just start from the beginning. February 13th. I changed my schedule and everything so I could wake up like around the start of the launch of the game, so I could basically do like a 20-hour plus stream and just get really far into the game and pop off. Whew, what a dumpster fire. Yeah, after about 7 hours after the release, I was still, trying to log into the game. Finally get in. Pretty pog. The graphics, pristine, looking mint condition, really good. Gameplay, it was okay. It was acceptable. I was like, this is okay. It felt clean enough. We'll talk more about this later. Voice acting really solid, and it looked really good. And I was playing the game, and everything was working okay. Until I got disconnected. Logged back in. I'm, after attempting many times. I get back in. My entire progression's reset. I'm back at the beginning again. Okay, I go again. Same thing. It's like, whatever. It's, there's like, the game's just come out. It's popping off. There's literally like 100,000 concurrent people trying to play the game at the same time. Okay. Fair enough. We'll give it, it's a small studio of like 40 people. Okay. Continue, get through the next act. Disconnect. Exact same thing happens. My progression gets reset, and I have to basically just restart the entire game. Because I'm a gamer, I get back in, I do the same thing. Whatever. I start to hear reports of people saying, dude, there's people duplicating gold. Literally duplicating gold. Day one of the release. Next thing I hear, oh, people are duplicating items. Oh, there's a bug in the game that it was in the beta where you go in and out of a dungeon over and over again, and it buffs your magic find to infinite amounts, and if you just kill one monster, just infinity loot comes out. Just your whole screen's covered in loot. I'm playing online. I'm a competitive gamer, right? I stayed up. I changed my whole schedule. The whole point is like that, you play a game that's fully released, you're expecting a certain level of like, what's the word here? Service where, there's some semblance of balance and like, there's going to be like an economy. No, within the first 24 hours of the game, economy is completely dead. The only way they can fix it at this point is by literally, just restarting, doing a fresh swipe. I continue playing until I get disconnected again, third time, and all my progression is reset. And I'm like, nah, screw this. I'm not playing. I'm gonna go to sleep, and when I get back, hopefully they'll fix these bugs. I wake up, servers are down for maintenance. I'm like, okay, fair enough. Okay, whatever. That's okay. This is fine. I'll wait for the servers to come back up. Exterva, it basically got extended. The game was changed to the name Wolcen, Lords of Maintenance. I think the overall time was like 72 hours of just straight up downtime. For a game that's just released, released. So I just start theory crafting offline with my boys, my Discord boys. We start to look around the skill tree that's been newly implemented, right? Because you can go offline and you can look at the skill tree, and we're looking at the skills and we're looking at the nodes, and we see like, what's going on with this node? It literally says you get 50% damage per block point. What does that even do? It just says plus 50 damage per block point. What does that mean? Why is it 50 and the other one's a 0.5? You literally ask my little hacker man friend Frog to do some hacking. He's like, no, that's 50% damage multiplier per point of block. Just on the tree, says it right there in the release form of the game. We tested it on offline mode. You put that in, you just do like 2,000% more damage instantly. And you're like, what the? How's that even in the game? How did nobody literally notice this? Okay, I'm playing a bleed build. I'm trying to work out how to min-max my character's damage. Because it's offline mode, you can look at the, I can go through all the runes and look at all the various runes for my ability, Bleeding Edge. And, we're going through the various ones and trying to figure out, the best combination. And there's notes there that say, stuff like, oh, yeah, increases duration of the ability by, 4 seconds. It makes it makes it spin around for a little bit longer. It's 8.8 times damage multiplier. There's other nodes on there where it gives you 30% crit damage or 20% increased weapon damage, and then we're testing out the nodes, and then there's one there that says increases damage per ailment stack, and it doesn't tell you how much. It just says increased damage. We go into the file, and when we find out, it's 20% per ailment stack. 20% per ailment stack. Ailments in this game stack up to 30, and you can have 7 of them quite easily. Without even trying, you can get to a 10,000% multiplier. And the nodes next to it are 20%, 10%. How? We're sitting here thinking, what is going on here? Who thought it was a good idea to even put any of these things into the game? And their state, and it was kind of mind-blowing. Whatever, okay, we kept it to ourselves. I basically made a secret build, and then when the servers finally came back up, completely annihilated the game. Just completely destroyed the game to the point where it was just I did the max GR, max everything. We just completely destroyed the entire game because these things. And not to mention that, we were also doing other testing on the skill tree. And we were looking at some of the nodes, like the resource cost reduction nodes. You would put 4% resource cost reduction in on the offline mode, and then you would look at the difference it had on your skill. And it was functioning at less than what it said it was giving you. And then we started to look at other nodes, and half the nodes on the goddamn tree said one thing and did something completely different. It would say, oh yeah, you get this, you get 10% block. It just does nothing. And then if you equip a two-hander, it gives you the block. You had nodes where it was telling you, oh yeah, whenever you block an attack, it reflects damage to the enemy, right? And then what happens is when you block an attack, it just crashes the server. I could just sit here ranting about all these bugs, but how did this isn't because this is 72 hours later, right? This is after they've got the servers working. This is not anything to do with the servers. This is literally nobody has tested this stuff. The tree is got clearly obvious mistakes. The nodes on the skills are completely imbalanced and across multiple skills. You can get 100% CDR on your on your some abilities, and you can just completely lag out and break the game. You can you can get 100% block chance with 100% block efficiency, relatively easy, right? Just a mediocre shield, and then just picking a tree, and then you are immune to damage. Immune to damage. And it's like, how... What are the devs thinking? Are they completely incompetent? I don't know. Whatever. I continue to play the game. And, you know, we get through the campaign, which, mind you, the campaign was pretty good, right? I mean, you know, but I think I've played a lot of games where the voice acting is complete trash, and it just completely breaks my immersion. Okay, this game had good voice acting. It had, like, good little in-game cinematic cutscenes. The storyline was pretty basic. It was, like, a little bit anime as well. But, you know, it was enough that you could follow along, and, you know, whatever. Okay, sweet as. I don't want to keep ranting. Wait, let's just, before I continue talking about negative stuff, let's talk about some positive things, actually. Once you beat the main campaign, you will be basically sent to an adventure mode, kind of like in Diablo 3. It's called Champions of Stormfall mode, and you've basically got an endgame, an infinite endgame, where you can play the game forever. But, yeah, there's not much to it. It does have this, though. This is actually probably, I don't know, probably one of the best features of the game, in my opinion. People look at this and they say, oh, mobile gamer mega lol, and they spam all this stuff. But it's unironically good. I actually really like this. I think this could totally work in other ARPGs. And I fully expect to see this in, you know, games like Path of Exile in the future, or a system kind of like this. Basically, it's a city where... you become like the lord of this place, and you can choose what to upgrade. You have like the main town hall, which just gives you generic upgrades to productivity. You have like a garrison where you can literally send your guys on missions, so you can get like crazy loot. Like, because I've been grinding it so hard, this thing, you know, I could spend 3k gold and 800 productivity, which is just like, productivity is a resource that you get by doing in-game content. And in-game content is literally just Greater Rifts maps, and there's little bounty boards, but you don't really do them. Whatever. And anyway, you basically get rewards, and there's hella gold sinks, like lots of things that you can look at and be like, wow, this is totally worth getting. For example, here, 500,000 gold, 12k primordial affinity. That's the other resources. This is really hard to get, and you can get a permanent +1 skill point just one time, right? Once it's upgraded, and it's pretty good. It was actually really exciting, like farming this out, and you know, there's things inside here that help you get that. For example, to farm out, you know, 12,000 affinity is really hard. But actually to farm out enough gold and then convert it to affinity using the thing inside the base makes it totally achievable. And this is kind of the thing where it's actually really, really cool. Where there's these really awesome upgrades and stuff, like permanently increase your magic find boost, 1 million gold, etc. Like these things, this is actually a really cool way to like sync, you know, to get rewards and have like a little strategy as to what you want to go for, like which missions you want to go for. You know, do you want to just spam upgrade one building? It depends how you want to do it. And there's actually even crafting endgame built into the system. Now, it doesn't work. So, what happens is, if you put an item in here, so say you want to turn a normal reagent into a legendary one, probably like, for example, this one and this one, they're the same thing, but like one works in a normal item, one works in a legendary item, you basically put it into here. Now, if you do that, and you press start project, it basically, your game's just going to crash, and then you'll get locked out of the game, and you will not be able to log in. There's been people who have literally zerged this, upgraded this building, right? Because they thought, oh man, I'm going to start crafting really early, right? Get an advantage. And what happened is they just got kicked out of the game, and they haven't been able to play for about a week now. Now, if it worked, it would actually be pretty cool, be pretty awesome, pretty poggers actually. You know, overall, as a system, if you pretend that there's nothing wrong with it, because there's lots of things wrong with it, like, and when I say wrong with it, I mean bugs that brick your game. Like literally any option where you insert an item in this entire thing will just brick your character. You can even farm, you can even basically get these in-game boss fights It's called, basically, these are called Uber bosses, where it's got Uber boss expedition. To get this one here, you have to sit there and you have to grind out to level 80. So I did that. I grinded out to level 80. I spent 30,000 primordial affinity, which is a lot of affinity. And, thanks for watching. Appreciate it, guys. I uninstalled the game. Yeah, you can see I literally uninstalled the game. The first echo is an Uber boss encounter. That's just a redone act boss. And then they've added a couple mobs in. The second one is the exact same thing. And the third one, which I grinded out to level 80 to do, because I wanted to go for, like, you know, world first online Uber kill, poggers. No, literally exactly the same as the first two fights. And guess what? You don't get any loot. There is literally zero loot dropping. Like, no loot drops when you do this. So you invest, you know, 30,000 of this resource and 15,000, you know, productivity, and then you're rewarded with nothing. But, you know, let's just pretend that's a bug. Let's say it's a bug. Assuming that there's no bugs and this thing works perfectly, actually pretty good system. The other form of endgame is effectively Greater Rifts out of Diablo 3 with a twist. Okay, so whenever you get here, you can basically go to this thing called the Expeditions map. You'll have Adept mode unlocked. You can basically start off there, and then you'll unlock Veteran. And the way it works is you go into the map, and if you complete 3 tiers of the map, so basically you go in the map, you clear on the map, and when you get to the end, you kill the boss, a portal will spawn. You can go to a harder version of the same dungeon, or the harder version of a different looking dungeon. And if you do 3 separate bosses in the same, like, level 43 difficulty, you'll unlock 46. You do another 3 at 46, you'll get 49, 52, and you just keep on going, keep on going, keep on going. You can see I've done quite a few, and eventually, well, I don't know if it's even theoretically possible with normal builds. I would say you can, because you could just make a tank build and just spend hours and hours clearing each rift. Eventually, you could technically unlock this. You can get to a point where the monsters are level 187. And, you know, the bosses have something like 220 million life, right? Which is obscene. Kind of like Diablo 3. Really kind of vibes with Diablo 3 quite hard in that whole system. A big point to note that actually a lot of people haven't picked up on it. I haven't really heard anyone talking about this. The maps you go into are not randomly generated. I mean, I think it's probably because I spent so long doing so many maps, as you can see. I mean, I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and I realized that actually these maps aren't random. These maps are made manually, and you'll start repeating the same maps over and over and over, and then you'll realize, oh wait, this is just like I'm on. It's easier to see that you're on a your hamster on a wheel than, you know, in other games where they randomize it more. You can also do this whole little meme right here, roll area modifiers. This is kind of like not Diablo 3. This is kind of like Path of Exile maps, where you can use currency to roll modifiers on your maps to make them harder. And yeah, it's that exact thing. You just click here, and then you say, oh yeah, they can take 33% less damage from crits. Another 2.5k gold. Certain enemies in the map, specialist ones, will have 75% maximum HP. You go again. Oh, I get 31% less rage. I get 31% less rage. You get the idea, right? You make the map harder, and I don't know if you can tell here, my magic find, my item quantity, my productivity, they're all going up. It caps out at 5, and then once you have 5 mods, you're at maximum 100% magic find, 40% quant, 80% productivity. You can then go one step further and do this thing called Lure Untainteds. This will put a special thing, or a special mod on the map, where instead of progressing the whole Greater Rift system, we have to do 3 maps. It'll be a single one map, except they'll be exceptionally difficult, difficult enemies that'll spawn. And there'll be no loot dropping at all, outside of chests, which I think is a glitch. I don't think it's supposed to drop out of the chests, but it does. You clear to the end, and it's like a speed run. Basically, if you don't die, and you get to the end boss and you kill him, within, I think it's under 5 minutes or so, you can get the S plus rank. You get ranked on the run. If you die, you'll get an S. If you die twice, you'll get an A. If you die 3 times, I think you get kicked out. I don't know. I don't even know. I've never died 3 times, so I don't know. Basically, if you die enough times, you'll get kicked out. And the slower you are, the less the rewards are. It's actually pretty cool. And then the reward screen actually gives you special loot with untainted mods. It's called, I don't know, they're called untainted mods, and I can give you an example here. This ring right here, you can see down the bottom, +2 ailment stacks inflicted. It's an untainted mod. It's exceptionally overpowered, and you can only get it from doing that. And then, so basically the idea would be that you level your Greater Rifts up to a point where you have a high eye level unlock. I think gear stops getting better at about monster level 115 at a certain point, because what I noticed was as I went up levels and as I kept clearing rifts or maps or whatever you want to call it, the rolls on the gear kept getting better and better and better, and I've got to the point where I was getting like 39% rage and willpower cost reduction. That's like 39% RCR on a single item, and it just stopped at a certain point. And the idea would be you unlock a very high tier of Greater Rift. You roll it fully modded, right? You roll it fully modded. I'm just deleting currency right now. And then you lure the Untainteds. And then you can see here it pops up like, are you sure you want to do that? Because it's really difficult, blah, blah, blah. And then you can see there, Untainted is on there. So you're getting crazy quantity, crazy everything. And you go in there and you do the crazy boss. And you get the Untainted mods. Overall, the system is... It's basic, right? But it's still like at Diablo's level, if not slightly better. Now, with the caveat that assuming that they're going to add in some sort of randomization, like, and they're not just going to have fixed maps in the future. It basically is Greater Rift with a twist. The other form of Endgame as well is one other thing you can do in Endgame. So you got the base building, you got the Greater Rifts, and then you also have the Mandates board. Mandates board is effectively like just a randomly generated bounty, and I assume they're all fixed, and it just basically opens up a portal, and it'll tell you to do a specific thing. I'll just open up a portal just to show you. You can see this bounty is to kill the enemies in the area. I never do these. They seem to be inefficient for XP, gold, and you don't progress your Greater Rifts at all. So I personally don't understand what the point of this is. Maybe there's a niche reason why bounties are actually good. I don't get it, and I haven't been engaging with that at all. And that's basically it for the in-game content, like in terms of actual what you're doing, combat-wise. Now let's talk about the thing that Wolcen does better than literally any other ARPG that I've ever played. But you didn't think I'd say that. It is the MTX system. Well, it's not even MTX yet. Okay, I say yet because eventually this will become MTX. They have said it will become MTX. MTX being microtransactions. Okay, the way this works is as you go throughout the game, you unlock gear. So all my gear got reset. My character got deleted somehow to a glitch, and all my MTX has been completely reset, which kind of sucks for the demonstration purposes. But just imagine that there's like I don't know, 15 different armor sets to choose from, and they all look really sick. Like, unironically, like, I think aesthetically, even like, you can say the graphics are really good, but I think even aesthetically, the graphics and the things just look really cool and badass. And you can basically go through here, you can see, and you can effectively pick, like, I can scroll down, I can pick this, cool, whatever. Let's just go with the rogue skin, YOLO. This is like the starter skin you get, I guess, for free. You can change your weapon. Okay, I don't have any weapon unlocks, so that doesn't work. Oh, I have some different shields. You can see here. It's a really nice little preview screen to, like, you know, see what stuff looks like. And you might be like, well, Diablo 3 can do this. This is whatever, dude. Who cares? But wait, this is where it gets crazy. You can actually dye individually the different aspects of the armor. So you can create truly custom. So you can see I can change like the little spiky boys on my shoulder pads. I can then, what am I changing here? I'm changing something. I don't know what I'm, oh yeah, I'm changing the actual color of the actual shoulder pad itself to like a blue color. You can see here, right? You can do some pretty weird stuff. I had a full, like, I had like golden trimmed pink knight looking character. I looked like an absolute god, and unironically, I felt like badass because I had customized my character so well. I actually felt like a badass. You can see here, like, look how much I can customize the trim here. I can actually go through, and the dyes that are here, right? You can see the different rarities. You know, there's normally like, you know, I don't know, hundreds. There's definitely a lot of different shades to pick from. Obviously, because my character got deleted to a bug, it's all reset. So yeah, you guys can't see all the shaders, but just pretend that it does exist, and just believe me when I say it's badass and it's the best system. No, 100%, no cap, zero cap. The MTX in this game and the whole system behind it is absolutely amazing, and I wish and I hope like D4 and PoE 2 could even take inspiration from the Wolcen MTX system, because this is sick. And you know, if you can like completely customize your character down to the dyes and everything, you can just make different armor pieces work. Like, you could probably, like, you could theme certain pieces with other pieces just by redying them, and you could, like, you know, change, you know, different sets and intermingle them. And you could do a lot more with the system if you could actually really customize your character down to like the T. And you just press accept, and then boom, now my character looks like a little spurgling. Obviously, you know, you can make them look pretty badass. I saw some of my viewers, transmogs. We had everything from like a dark, edgy knight to like just an it's an e-girl wearing a G-string. I mean, you can do a lot with the system, and it looks, and it looks amazing. It just looks amazing. Okay, so that's a really good aspect of the game, and I hope other games can take inspiration from Wolcen when it comes to this whole system. Even this interface, like just being able to go and just hide your interface and just look at your character like this, I think is absolutely amazing. Another thing of note is the crafting system in this game. It's quite basic, but actually adds a lot of depth. I think they took a little bit of inspiration, or a lot of inspiration, from Path of Exile. You have items such as this one, which is basically an annul orb. It removes an affix and adds an affix. You have these things called Urbian Tears, which are basically an exalt orb where you can slam a modifier on it. And like, to give you an example, I got this pair of panties right here. It didn't have cooldown reduction on it. I needed cooldown reduction. I was like, please, man, please. I'm going to slam these panties with the super rare material. Maybe I could slam on, you know, an extra affix. And lo and behold, I slammed cooldown reduction, and I made quite possibly some of the best pants in the game. And it just gives you a lot of options. You've also got just a manual annul orb. You've got, there's a couple of other different crafting mats. You have like a Chaos Orb as well, where you can just basically sit there rerolling items. Now, my Chaos Orbs were all deleted by a glitch. Yeah, basically your gear just randomly gets deleted from your stash. Yeah, just randomly gets deleted from your stash. So I don't have one to show you, but just believe me, there's a Chaos Orb. It does exist. And the crafting system, I don't think is that bad. I'd say it's like at least 10 times better than the D3 crafting system anyway, because it really allows you to, like, if you get a piece of gear, which would be good if it had X, you can then have a chance at adding X, or you can modify it to add X. And you can basically have 2 chances. If there's an item that's almost perfect, you can then you can basically roll the dice. Maybe you brick it, maybe you make it insane. And it's just like gambling, but when you get what you want, it's absolutely poggers, dude. There is also a gem system where you can basically use gems to modify the way your character works. And I think this is actually a pretty good system. You can see here, I've got a gem in there. It says 10% block efficiency. I'm actually stacking block efficiency and block chance because I'm doing some memes with this character here. You can see my block chance is 91% with 75% block efficiency. If I press this button here, it's actually going to be a lot higher. It's kind of unethical, actually. Block chance 100%. Block efficiency 75%. That means I just literally take 75% less damage. You can actually get this to 100% and take 0 damage, which is totally fine. Smiley face, totally fine. And now you can see here I'm using the same gems, but they do different things, which might be confusing, right? I've got 3 of the same gem, but one gives block chance, the other 2 give block efficiency, and that's because of this little bad boy right here. Basically, you can let's take the gems out of this thing here. You can see that there's a offensive 2, offensive 3, offensive 2. And depending on what slot you have in on the item, the gem will do something different. And you just roll sockets. You can just sit here rolling sockets all day. It costs a little bit of, a little bit of gold. You will eventually burn through your gold. Like, when I say eventually, you'll burn through your gold really fast doing this. This shield here cost me about 500,000 gold. I was looking for basically triple D2, but I ended up getting D2, S3, which is like, when I say D2, I mean defense 2, support 3, because shields can roll both defensive modifiers and support modifiers, which is pretty cool because it means there's a lot of different things you can do with it, right? And yeah, this is actually a pretty fun system where you can sit here rolling your gear. For example, weapons specifically prefer O1, which is offensive 1. Offensive 1 is flat damage added to attacks if you're making a attack build. So you're getting triple O1 could take you a lot. And you might want to compromise for something like double O1, O3, like I just got now, which is actually pretty reasonable. But like O2 does nothing, so this is a brick. And there's a lot of RNG to it, but actually, depending on what build you're doing, it means there's a lot of customization there, which I actually think is pretty neat. It's not a bad gemming system at all. Much better than the D3 system, that's for sure. Another thing that is definitely worthy of noting is the talent tree. You see here, it's pretty... it's not a talent twig. Okay, it's not a Diablo 4 talent twig. Or a Diablo 3 non-existent, they don't even have a talent tree, but it's definitely not Path of Exile. And I feel like, because obviously the game is brand new, it's pretty crude, and a lot of the choices are kind of almost mandatory, and then there's tons of nodes that are just straight up broken. But if you pretend that they fix all the nodes, and they make all the nodes work, and they make all the nodes do what they say they do, because right now, they don't. The concept is actually pretty neat. The idea is that you can effectively twist this bad boy, and allows you to customize, certain areas so you can path differently based on where this thing's, placed. Because my tree is kind of circular, it actually can move quite a lot without actually bricking. You see that it works. The tree's working like this. It's still working even like that. You get the idea, and now I can access like these bottom nodes, for example. Say I wanted to I was like, oh my god, I need to get this. I could then, I could basically twist it around. I could twist it around till I can get there. You get the idea, and you can make, say you wanted to zerg a particular talent, you could twist it around so you just go in a straight line. Which is a pretty fun way of looking at a talent tree. Now, it's not good for doing build guides because they all look really similar. There's no icons, and everyone's just constantly confused and doesn't understand what the hell's going on. But still, I feel like this talent tree, even as scuffed as it is, the concept is pretty cool. And it's certainly better than not having a talent tree, and certainly better than, in my opinion, the D4 talent tree, that's for sure. They just need to fix the bugs, add icons, Remove all the trash, because there's a bunch of trash talents in there that are just that you would never take, and there's a lot of ones that are just like, there's like nodes that aren't even the main node that are just absolutely overpowered, you know, which doesn't make any sense. The whole idea is to like path to a key node as efficiently as possible, not path to a minor node and then just grab a key node because it's close. You know, it's one of those things. You can see that happening right here. I literally just path to this. Oh my god, it's hotfixed. It's hotfixed. Okay, this talent here used to give you 2,000% damage, but they actually did a hotfix. They did their, yeah, this is another thing worthy of noting. They only hotfix the game once a week, because that's all they're capable of doing. And now the speculation is that they're somehow legally binded, like there's a contract they signed that only allows them to push a hotfix once every week. So it looks like a hotfix has finally gone through that fixed. My build is now dead. But yeah, that's good. That's actually a really good sign that they're actually getting onto these things. I mean, you know, a couple weeks into the game release, they've fixed like the most busted shit in the game. That's actually really good. But yeah, no, with the whole talent tree thing, it's certainly not perfect. But I mean, this game only just came out, and obviously, I feel like they could definitely improve on this tree. Maybe even add in more rings in the future and make it more complex with more nodes. And I think that'd be badass. But overall, still pretty good. Now, to avoid the video getting way too long, I'm going to start bullet pointing some of the things that I think you guys need to know that might not be super obvious, but are also pretty detrimental to the game. Let's start off with one of my pet hates. There is no left-click force move in this game. You cannot bind force move to left-click. In 2020, you can't left-click. This might be a personal thing. You can force move using like the control key or something. Personally, I'm so used to using left-click force move, and I think most people do that, and it just feels so much better. You click where you want to go. Your character just goes there. He doesn't attack mobs randomly. He doesn't get stuck in an animation. You press, you go, and I just think it's a huge oversight. And as an ARPG, you know, you're supposed to be ARPG fans making this game, how they missed that is big question mark to me. As a result, the combat does feel a little bit clunky, I feel like, because of that. And then also, I feel like it's hard to describe, but I feel like the abilities and the animation locks, it's not as smooth as Diablo 3 gameplay. And I would even maybe say, now I don't know if this is just because the force move thing, that even PoE in its current state has cleaner combat than Wolcen. It may not look like it, because people look at the gameplay and they're like, wow, that looks so smooth. No, from my experience, it's pretty good, but I would not put it on D3 level, and I'd probably say the combat's slightly more clunky than PoE, but that might just be the force move thing. Another pet hate is the uniques in this game. Most of them are just, let me just show you the ones I found. Two that are good. There's this one here called the Trial. This one applies Mark of Impurity on hit, and it literally scales. It scales with all the skill nodes. So what this means is when they die, the mobs explode for 20% of their HP. It also applies flipping 9 curse stacks. They take 10% more damage, and it also proliff spreads. And the result is this belt is just insane. You don't even need it on your bars. This belt is just mandatory OP for every build in the game. I've noticed a lot of other people have started picking it up after I started using it because it's just insane. There's also a ring here that spreads ailments. It spreads ailments, so like whenever you apply an ailment, it just chance to just AoE and prolifs out and AoEs people down. But now most of the other uniques here, they're almost just like leveling items. Like they're like really big question marks, and it's kind of scary because that means the devs are like, either they made these uniques like years ago, and then they just kept updating the game, and then they're just all irrelevant, or the devs have no clue what the fuck they're doing, right? Which, little bit scary, little bit scary. Another huge thing would probably be the fact that attribute stacking multipliers. Okay, so this is gonna be like a little bit confusing, but in this game here, okay, the way it works is you have different attributes which you can spec into. I haven't even mentioned this. There is attributes in this game. You can see here I can reset my attributes, and ferocity gives crit and spell crit, toughness, health, and force shield, attack speed. Agi is attack speed, spell casting speed, wisdom is ailment chance, and spell status ailment chance. You get the idea. But this is the really stupid thing, in my opinion. This is the whole meme that you get a damage multiplier from your attributes. So now what I found was I was playing a wisdom build, right? Where I was like, badass. I'm going to go like wisdom and I'm going to apply ailments. This is going to be sweet. And I was stacking wisdom and I was just going hardcore wisdom and I was kind of dying a bit. So I was like, oh, let's get a bit of toughness. This is pretty cool. Well, you'll notice here is my multiplier is lower. And that's because the way these attributes work is you have a primary, which is your highest stat, a secondary, which is your second highest, you have a tertiary, which is your third highest, and a quaternary, which is your fourth highest. And it scales, like the primary gives you the most damage multiplier, you can see here. You get the most damage multiplier from your primary, second most, and so on and so on. And then I realized, I had a profound moment where I was like, wait a second. Why am I splitting my stacks? And then I took all my points out of wisdom and I put everything into toughness. And the net result was I got a damage boost. And this whole system of like stacking attributes is like, it's mandatory, right? Like you just like, if you're not just putting all your points into a single attribute, be it ferocity, toughness, agility, or wisdom, you're basically an idiot. Which I think is a really large oversight. You'd be better off balancing the attributes, right? In a way that, like, you want to have, there's a reason to want each one of these attributes. And then, like, if you need a bit of toughness, you get a bit of toughness. Otherwise, if you want some ailment chance, you get some wisdom. You want some crit, you get a ferocity. You get the idea? But no, this game, it was just stupid to me. I'm an ailment build that focuses completely on ailments, but it was actually a DPS increase for me to instead, from, like, doing lots of ailment chance with a bit of toughness to just going pure toughness, I would get more damage output by going pure toughness, which to me was just like mind-blowing. I was like, wow, what a terrible, terrible system. Okay, now, with all this said and done, the game, if you ignore items getting deleted from your inventory, items getting deleted from your stash, not being able to create games sometimes, just black screens that last 5 minutes randomly, not being able to use the city builder because it breaks your game for multiple days, your transmog progression getting constantly reset, your story progression constantly getting reset, your item duping, your gold duping, the bug magic find where you can get infinite loot. Sometimes you just can't pick up items off the ground because it's bugged. Bounties constantly bugging out where you can't complete them, where you have to reset your game and then you can't log in because you can't create a game. Getting no loot from uber bosses, builds that are literally immune to damage, tooltips doing completely the opposite of what they say they do, or just some nodes in the tree not working. If you just look past, I literally can't think of, there's so many dupes and bugs and exploits I can think of. But no, if you ignore that, right? So let's just get all that and we say, the devs are literal gods. They fix it. They fix everything. Game works flawlessly. No bugs. Now we're talking. This is probably like, a game that you would expect when it's released, right? Like a game it's because this is a full release of the game. That's a release game. And if I can somehow objectively think of the game without all those bugs, we just in a vacuum, forget about the bugs, the game, I would say, is easily a 6 out of 10, maybe even a 7 out of 10. The add ranking in, you've got a game that's easily better than like Diablo 3. Like I'd play this over Diablo 3. It's like, in a vacuum with all the bugs fixed, and they had a ranking system, and they can, keep patching the game, right? But that's not the reality. The reality is this game is a fucking mess. It's a fucking mess. It's completely bugged. There's literally hundreds of clips over the past few days of me just encountering so many different bugs. I fell through the floor one time. I went to some crazy, like, weird tiles. It's just like, I have not played a beta. Like, literally, I participated in a lot of betas in my time. And almost every beta is less buggy than this game. So why they are advertising this as a fully released game is... I don't know how, right? I don't know how. Is it because D4's coming and PoE 2's coming and they thought, we need to release this now, screw it, and just release it halfway through? I don't know. The reality is, this game, it's false advertising. It's not a full release. The game is, if you include the bugs, I wouldn't even, 2 out of 10, 1 out of 10. Like, you can't play it online in the end game. It's that bad. And I cannot advise anyone to buy this game. Like, I cannot, because, I mean, if it was a alpha, if they said, yo, you can buy the game now, we're releasing it early access alpha, lots of bugs, right? Then I'd be totally cool with that. But the fact is, they're releasing it as a full game, and it's clearly not a full game. It's still in alpha. It's still in beta. But hopefully, you know, we can bless RNG, and we can say maybe the devs, because they have so many people, like I think there was 127,000 people concurrently playing the game. There's hundreds of thousands of people who have bought it now. There's also probably thousands of people refunding the shit out of the game. But still, most people won't, right? Most people were stuck in the load screen for more than 24 hours. So then that means they can't refund, right? So hopefully the devs will get this shit together and they'll fix the bugs and they'll make the game good. Because I do believe that somehow, if they could, you know, fix all the stuff, it actually might be an okay game. With the caveat that I'm not sure about some of the decisions, like some of the things that are in the game and some of the things that just exist. Like, you would have to have some pretty cooked decision making to even implement that in the first place, which kind of worries me that, like, maybe the seed is tainted, maybe the devs aren't that, you know, or maybe it's just a couple guys who were just cooked and they just coded some bugs and by mistake because they stayed up too late. You never know, right? Fingers crossed. Overall conclusion, game in its current state, don't buy it. It's a 2 out of 10. Maybe a year from now, maybe a few months from now, whenever they fix everything, it'll actually be playable. I will revisit Wolcen. I will come back to Wolcen whenever the next major patch is, or whenever they, you know, if they invent a league or something. They did say they are planning an expansion. So, you know, if that's when I come back to them, we'll see. But as it stands right now, it's a mess. Hope you enjoyed the review, boys. And, yeah, I'll see you later.